Howdy guys, welcome back to another one. This time we're putting together a very old paper haul. This is a Western Expert. Before the Winchester branding, this just says Western. It is a 2 3/4 dram of 1 1/8 ounce number 8 shot. And you can see this is a paper haul. These are probably from the 40s, maybe 50s, but they are quite old. As you can see, the brass does look really cool. Try to focus on it. It has a, what I'll call a design on it. It's probably just the crimping that holds the paper to the brass, but still, it looks really cool. This is Twice Fired. A viewer of the show donated Josh and me a whole bunch of, some of them are old, but a lot of ammo for us to make videos on and stuff, and he gave Josh a box of like 300 of these paper 16 gauge shells, all 2 3/4 inch. Even though it's 2 3/4 inch, they do not have 2 3/4 inch capacity. So yeah, these are 2 3/4 inch hulls, but they're so old that they don't even have the capacity of a modern day plastic 2.5 inch hull. Yeah, these have very limited capacity. The very first thing I ever put together for shotguns was for 16 gauge, and I tried putting that load that I always used in this, and the wad, I'm not kidding, the wad came up to the very end of the hull. There wasn't enough room to even roll it. When I say to the end of the hull, I'm talking about the wad. If it was up any higher, it would be sticking up out of the shell. So yeah, these have very, like I said, limited capacity. So anyway, to keep this video short and sweet, we're using some green dot powder, 19, which is what I started with 5 years ago. A plastic gas seal, this is the OB16, and 1/8 inch of a waxed hard card. You could also use fiber cushion wad, felt, anything you have that is 1/8 of an inch and has some cushion to it. And lastly, 1 1/8 ounces of lead shot. I'm using copper plated, don't spill, number 6 shot. So, there's that. Come on. Our plastic gas seal. These holes are pretty thick too, so get that in there. Now, 1/8 inch of our filler wad. Again, I'm using a waxed hard card. Get that out of here. Seat that down on the powder. Give it a little bit of compression to make sure it's actually seated, not rattling. We are good to go. Now, and as you can see, this goes fast. 1 1/8 ounces of copper plated number 6 shot, but you guys can use any size lead shot you want. Even 1 ounce will work just fine here. You might have to build up stack height a little bit though. So with that out of the way, I've heard you're not really supposed to use modern crimp starters on paper hulls, but I'm gonna do it anyway. I think what they used way back in the day was sort of a cone-shaped crimp starter, which I do have, but I'm not going to use it. Obviously, as you can see, our pre-crimp looks just fine, so that will work. You guys have seen me load paper hulls before. But here's something I guarantee you no one's ever tried before. Using a Rebasator, and it worked on a paper hull. That worked a lot better than I thought it would. So once we final crimp this, it should look like a factory shell. You can see what that Rebasator did. It created a crease around the top edge of the hull, and that is going to hold crimp memory very well and also get you a much deeper, firmer crimp. And to be honest, I'm glad that worked because I only have one of these. If you can see, I have 3 back here, but these are so old and kind of dried out that whenever you shoot them, it doesn't matter how low the pressure is, they tend to crack pretty bad. I'll actually show you an example of that. Josh loaded these with a 6,500 PSI load, and as you can see, if I had it lined up right, this one actually split. The brass does split too. One of them back, actually both of these, you can see, maybe. The brass did split on this one, right there. And this one, the side of it actually cracked right here. I hope you can see that. I barely can on my screen right here. But that's just the way it goes. He did re-wax these too. But this one right here, Josh did load it. I fired it and it held up just fine. So we're going to load it again. Go ahead and final crimp that. And yeah, it does look great. There you go. Really nice crimp on it, nice and deep set. Even have a slight taper on it, not bad at all. Paper hauls do generally load up pretty nice, but I don't think this one's going to go again after it's fired. Just being honest, going off of all the rest of them we fired, they split. But there is a 1 1/8 ounce copper plated number 6 shot in a 2 3/4 inch paper hull that has the capacity of maybe a 2 1/4 inch plastic shell. I have to say though, I really like paper hulls. They're kind of hard to get nowadays. Federal does still make them, as does Remington under the Peters brand, which are blue. If you didn't know, those hulls are the exact same as the Federal hulls, but blue instead of red. But they are very cool nonetheless. As far as I know, that is the only commercially available paper hull that is still made. Although Shadite and I think Fiocchi actually do still make runs of paper hulls that you can sometimes get. Speaking of that, I do actually have some Shadite paper 2 3/4 inch 20 gauge shells brand new primed. Actually, those are right here. Those green ones you see, well, they're originally yellow, but I spray painted them seafoam green. But yeah, paper hulls are cool. I do wish they were more readily available as they were pre-1963. I think that's when plastic hulls came out. Correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah, I just like paper hulls. But that's going to end this one here. Please like and subscribe. We always appreciate that. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down in the comment section below, and we'll get back to you. And if you want to, go check out our Patreon. It's as low as $1 a month, and you guys get early access to content. A link to that, as well as a link to our Instagram, Rumble, and merch store, will be in the description below. But other than that, you guys take it easy, and we'll see you in the next one.